Okay, what is one-point perspective? The whole foundation of drawing, whether it's in fine arts or architectural or engineering drawing, is creating the sensation of real depth in a two-dimensional format, like a piece of paper or a canvas. That piece of paper has basically two dimensions. It has a height and it has a width. The whole sensation of three-dimensional space comes out of perspective. So one-point perspective is basically that sensation, like we're in the middle of a road and that road comes to a point at the horizon. Now, we know that these two lines, which are called perspective lines, they, as we travel down that road, they remain parallel to each other. And the width of the road stays the same no matter how far we actually travel down a real road. But to create that sense in a two-dimensional format, like a flat piece of paper, we use linear perspective. And based on the perspective or the vantage point of the viewer, that is either one-point perspective, two-point perspective, or three-point perspective, depending on the viewpoint of the viewer and also the subject matter that we're trying to convey. But for this sense, we're just going to talk about one-point perspective. And one-point perspective is that sensation like these perspective lines meet at a point. That point, just beyond the horizon, is called the vanishing point. And that gives us our one point in one-point perspective. So if we were to draw up a building, for instance, and put a building into the landscape, we could put a building here. That's the side of the building that's facing the road. This is the side of the building that's facing us as the viewer. We could maybe put a big window in this building. We could put a door. All of these lines that give us that sense of perspective, all of those lead to that single vanishing point. And that essentially gives us our one point in one-point perspective. So anything else that we might add into this drawing, all of those lines to give that sensation of near and far basically drive those lines right to the vanishing point. Now, this has been used in art since the Renaissance. This is a very famous painting by Masaccio, who was a early Renaissance master in Florence. And this is actually a painting, it's a fresco on a flat surface. But that illusion of space, like this room in the painting, that's basically created, that sensation of deep space is created through the linear perspective. All of those perspective lines moving towards the base of the painting, even in the front of the painting, the perspective of the heads of The figures all lead it to a vanishing point, to create the sensation like a three-dimensional space on a flat surface.